So then guys, we have massive breaking news today. We had a leak of the new iPad Pro, what has just come in from a Russian YouTuber. We've had this guy before leak us, say, the M4 MacBook Pros around about this time last year, and we've had exactly the same again with the iPad Pro M5. We got a video from Williscom, if I'm saying that correctly, where he's decided to get his hands on the iPad Pro M5, do an unboxing for us, and also run a load of benchmarks and things like this. Now, this video is incredible to actually see, and also what's actually changed with the iPad Pro. The first thing that's a big notice here is that obviously that the new iPad Pro box looks identical to the M4 iPad Pro with its box and packaging, and it even shows off that it is the M5 iPad Pro that he does actually have here. But as he goes into more of the unboxing sort of process and things like this, you can obviously see that it's really very similar to, say, the M4 iPad Pro box. It doesn't look like Apple have done any updates here. Also, for the design wise, it looks like nothing has changed here whatsoever. You know that we've been hearing about leaks of guessing maybe slightly thinner borders and bezels around the actual screen. It doesn't look like it here. It looks exactly the same size as the M4 iPad Pro. And then also we also heard that we were going to get dual kind of FaceTime cameras on the front. He doesn't talk about this, but I've gone through the video with a fine tooth comb and I cannot see a FaceTime camera on the portrait side of this, only on the landscape. So I don't think that is coming this year round. The cameras on the back look identical to the iPad Pro M4, so nothing really has changed there whatsoever. But what I would be saying it definitely looks like it's changed is all to do with the actual chipset. So it does look like we are going to get the M5 put inside of it, and what he's got right here, it looks like, I'm going to say it's the bin down version of the M5. So this is probably the one for the 256GB model, the 512GB model, what has the bin down CPU and bin down sort of GPU as it were. And you can even see here that with this GeekBench scoring, what he's doing, that we actually only got a 9-core CPU, so 6 efficiency cores and 3 performance cores. But just have a look at the score here of what he's done with the M5 compared to the M4. And in fact, I've put it in the chart here for you to have a closer look at. And you can see here for single core performance, we are definitely doing better here. We're at 4,000. In fact, we're more than 4,000, 4,133 compared to that 3,748 in single core performance. What is amazing to see. Do remember that single core performance, even in the likes of the A19 Pro, was actually close to the 4,000 marker. And it looks like that with the M chip, it's actually broken that. We've gone through that. But then even say for multi-core performance, and remember this is the 9-core version, not even the 10-core one, have a look right here. Look at the scores. You can see we're now getting 15,437 compared to 13,324. And I've just thrown it into comparison here. The M3 Pro was 2 generations ago, but the Pro chip on a MacBook Pro 14-inch, well, you can see here, this got a score of 15,258, and the M5 has actually beaten this in multi-core performance with just the 9-core CPU setup. And do remember that the MacBook Pro M3 Pro had a 12-core setup and had more performance cores and less efficiency cores. We've got less efficiency cores here in the M5 and then also less performance cores, and yet it's still beating it out here, and that is absolutely incredible. Especially like even single core performance, we are way out in front. We've got 1,000 more in score here. This is fantastic news to see that the M5 chip is definitely a screamer here and is a level ahead than we got with the M4. Now, something else I also want you to take notice of here, it's shown in the video, but I've also then put it in my chart, is the RAM. So that the RAM amount is actually now 12 gigabytes for the baseline version of this. So that is what we're going to get. We're not going to get 8 gigabytes. We thought it could be 16 gigabytes of RAM as the baseline. It looks like it's 12 with the M5. So an increase is good to see, and I think 12 is okay. I think for what you're getting with the likes of iPad OS, 26, 12 gigabytes of RAM for the baseline, I can live with that. I'm so glad it's not 8. So that is really, really good, especially I also like to say of iPhones with iOS, well, they come with 12 gigabytes of RAM now in the A19 Pro, for example. So it kind of made sense that this was at least going to get this. So that is good news to hear. Now, the bad news is what I'm also going to say is obviously this is the model we saw for the baseline line. He's not shown us one of the sort of the 10 core CPU M5 for the 1 terabyte and 2 terabytes. We don't know the scores yet. We might find that out very soon. But what I am going to say with that, potentially the RAM for that could be even higher. It could be double the 12. It could be 24 gigabytes. So do remember that at the moment with the M4, you actually, if you get the 1 terabyte or the 2 terabyte, you get 16 gigabytes of RAM. This could have been increased as well up to 24 this time around. Double the 12. So like the 8, double that to 16. 12, double that to 24. Who knows? Or it could actually still just come out with 16. We'll just have to wait and see on that. But at least the baseline has been increased this time, what is great news to hear. Now, the next question you're going to be asking about is, what about GPU performance? Well, he also did a GeekBench GPU Metal Core score. So let's have a look at the scores that we got right here in this chart. And you can see that the score is almost around about 50% more than what we got with the iPad Pro. We've gone from about 53,000 to 74,000, so just under 50% increase. What is mind-blowing? The GPU performance is definitely way ahead here. Now, do remember the iPad Pro with the M4 does come with a 10-core GPU inside that with the 8 gigabytes of RAM, but we don't know how many cores this one had, what he's testing out here. It doesn't actually show it in the video, and obviously I can't translate Russian very well, so I don't know if he mentions how many GPU cores. If he does, put it down in the comments, but I'm gonna guess here this is probably a 10-core GPU as well, especially it's the baseline version. It might be more, I just don't know. But the cool thing is, either way, look at that. The score is 74,568. That is absolutely incredible. And again, just to show you here, with the likes of the MacBook Pro M3 Pro, what had a 14-core GPU, it's less. Look at that. That could only get 69,460. So yeah, even with 4 less cores inside of this, potentially, so 10 core, this is still beating out that M3 Pro. And that is absolutely amazing to see that we are getting that here with this. So that is brilliant news. I'm so excited for the speed we're going to be getting with the GPU with the M5 iPad Pro. Now, something else what I'd also want to mention is possibly that these GPU cores have also got the same GPU cores, very similar like we got inside of the A19 Pro. These are the ones with those kind of neural engine AI cores, and this is why we're possibly getting a good performance jump there. The other thing I just want to quickly mention is if we go back to the CPU, he also mentions it. You can see he's pointing it out here with the actual Geekbench that obviously the cache amount is actually higher here. So the same thing with like the A19 Pro where they said the efficiency cores have got more cache on it. It looks like the cache on the M5 for the efficiency cores has gone up even more. So this is great news to see this with this. But then the last check what he did was with AnTuTu, and I want to show you what that looks like now. So let's have a look at the score, and do remember that with the likes of the MacBook Pro, with the M3 Pro, we cannot do a check there because obviously, you can't run that kind of benchmark on a MacBook Pro, only on iOS or iPad OS. So let's have a look at the score here between the 2 iPad Pros. Well, we can see the difference right here. With that iPad Pro M4, we got the score of 2897,765. What is quite impressive to see here with that 9-core CPU, 10-core GPU. So that was really good with 8 gigabytes of RAM, but we can see a definite improvement here where we're now up in the 3. So we're 3.1, 3.7, 9.26. So definitely a big increase here. A good, nice jump up compared to what we had with the iPad Pro M4. But do remember again, this is a 9-core CPU and then also 12 gigabytes of RAM. But like I said, guys, this is super exciting to see at this leak. And it also means that obviously if we've got this leak that has just come in showing us this unboxing, that iPad Pros are being made right now, or some have already been made, obviously. So it means that the launch is imminent. So as we're coming into October right now, yeah, I'm going to say this, that obviously that launch is definitely on the cards. It's going to be coming out before the end of October or beginning of November, the latest. And we are definitely going to see an iPad Pro before the end of 2025. And it makes sense because by the beginning of, November, we're coming up to about 18 months since the last iPad Pro update refresh with the M4. So this does make a lot of sense that this iPad Pro has been made, and I would say quite likely that this leak, what you've seen right here, this video, I'm about 99% sure it is true, compared to as well that obviously this guy, he also did make that video with the MacBook Pros, like I said, when he had the M5 chip inside of that. So this is making a lot of sense now that this is probably going to be the new iPad Pro with the M5 chip, and this is what we're going to get. For me, the only other thing I'm going to say is I am a little disappointed that we haven't had those other leaks come true with the dual FaceTime camera and also slightly larger display, but we'll just have to wait and see as the future goes what is going to happen there. But overall, yeah, really exciting news to see this leak today. But are you excited for the new iPad Pro? Are you going to get one with the M5 chip in it? Well, let me know in the comments below. And with that as well, guys, it's time to wrap up the video too. So if you have enjoyed watching it, please do press the like button. As always, when the latest Apple news, reviews and comparisons, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Until next time, guys, I'll see you really soon. Take care. Bye bye.